Welcome to Mac and Blue, the cutting-edge podcast for the nation's builders, merging the realms of construction with exciting advancements in technology. Join us on a thrilling journey where we delve into the dynamic world of blockchain, AI, the metaverse, virtual and augmented reality, and their transformative impact on the industry. Our engaging discussions span a wide spectrum, covering not only construction, economic development, supply chain, and market segments, but also exploring the vibrant tapestry of diversity within the construction landscape. We shed light on the intersection of local politics and its profound influence on the construction sector, while championing the remarkable contributions of women and minorities in construction. For all things Mac and Blue, head to www.macandblue.com, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Mac and Blue. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky, president and co-founder of Blue Wave. Today, I'm lucky enough to have Osman Ulhaq from Arizona, or OneAZ Credit Union. I had to look down because I always get that screwed up. I always kind of do an intro here, folks, but Osman and we had tried to schedule maybe 3 or 4 other times. You know, he's such a dapper, he's dressed so well. I think they had him on the runway out in New York modeling or something, but we finally got to reschedule. So welcome, and just glad to have you on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Just another little background. He is the Chief Strategy and Growth Officer over at OneAZ Credit Union. And before we came on the air, we were just talking about how typical Phoenix and Arizona market, how many people we knew, how we got connected. And through a publicist and through a marketing director, someone else had reached out to me saying, "Hey, will you have Osman on?" And I said, "Sure." And then we were talking about the State 48 Foundation. Call out to you, Mike Spangenberg, and everyone involved. We've had numerous people on the board that have been on this podcast before. So with that, I think we're going to talk about all sorts of fun things today, some credit union stuff, some banking, some philanthropic, some community stuff. But before we even do that, you're kind of a good little immigrant story. So take 5, 10, 50 minutes and talk about the American dream for you.
Yeah. You know, American dream is not the same for everyone, for sure. And my story in particular is I'm originally from Pakistan, South Asia, and I moved across Middle East. My father got a job working for a oil and gas in Libya, and then ended up being in hotel restaurants. And it was so awesome. The journey.
What was his particular?
He's an engineer by trade.
Okay.
So he would go into intercontinental hotels, Holiday Inns, and just look at the properties and renovate them to where they were part of their brand. Like, what does it require to make that property fit in the bands of the star ratings of hotels? So it was such an absolute pleasure growing up that we got an opportunity to go to Egypt, Lebanon. We were in Saudi Arabia, all across Middle East.
Were you a big family?
Yeah, we were a family of, still are a family of 5. Yeah.
Are you still the favorite?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Should I call your dad and ask?
Yeah.
Is Osman the best?
Well, I'm the only son, so yeah.
Oh, he already likes you.
Yeah. Well, and there's a whole thing around, the retirement plan is the son in the family.
Way to go crush it.
Yeah. So it just kind of adds the additional pressure. But yeah, the perspective of global economy in particular, right? So just knowing perspective of what is it that you can learn from cultures, financial barriers that people deal with, challenges in their day-to-day lives. It was just eye-opening.
Because of that multicultural approach, Osman, how would you describe your education? How many languages do you speak? What was that like growing up?
Yeah.
Was it forced upon you, or did it come natural to you? Or
no, it comes natural. I speak 5 languages. And it's just the cultures you grow up in. You hear a language at home, and then you're communicating in another language when you're buying groceries at the store, and then you also adapt and learn languages that are your family is communicating in. So it just comes natural, and you adapt.
We've had a lot of guests on. You can imagine. Arizona, Hispanic, or the Spanish versus English thing. It was almost typical where you hear, hey, what we did is it was English everywhere. If English was your second language, it was English everywhere, except at home, we spoke the native tongue, right? Was that kind of similar?
Yeah, it is. At home, we had Urdu, that's for Pakistan.
Okay.
And anytime you were out and about, you were communicating in Arabic in the Middle East. But all your school, everything was in English.
Oh.
So it's just a weird dynamics.
Now, did you end up moving a lot too then? Or was it just your dad that would move and then come back?
Yeah, no, it was my dad. So he would, like Holiday Inns or Intercontinental Hotel Group would be like, hey, we're buying a property in Egypt. We want you to go there and take a look at that. They would say, we have a hotel in Lebanon. We need to kind of refurbish. So we would kind of just move around. And we were like, hell, this is awesome because we get to try new different foods. We try to learn different cultures and just the impact that had in terms of like who I am today.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with that growth and opportunity we had as kids.
So then how did you eventually get to the States?
Well, it was education. My father always believed like, hey, go wherever it takes you to get the best education. So I moved to Texas with a bunch of friends. We were going to all go through for college and graduated high school, moved to Texas and graduated there. And then it's been a journey, and then just jobs. And I didn't think I was ever going to leave Texas till an opportunity popped up in Phoenix and about 10 months ago. And here I am in Phoenix.
So the I gotta ask, back to when you moved to Texas, was that talk about you've been culturally diverse, but was that a little bit of a shock, or was it no big deal?
The image I always had in my mind was Texas. Well, as you're growing up, you're always looking at movies. You're seeing the downtown of New York. You're looking at the beaches of California. And when I land in Texas, I'm kind of asking my friends, I was like, hey, where's all those massive skyscrapers here? And they're like, oh, that's just a little region you're going to see about 5 miles, and that's going to be downtown. I was like, what? That's not how it is on the movies, right? I was like, where's the beach, the light blue water? And they're like,
you came to Houston or Dallas?
Houston.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have Galveston there, and so at least we had a coastal, presence. But I was like, this beach does not look like the movies.
So how did you get into banking proper then?
Yeah, so I've taken a journey where I was in retail, I was in car businesses, started my career because of my dad in hotels in the Middle East, and then being in the car business, it just kind of was a natural fit. We were dealing with a bunch of lenders. So I came in through the indirect channel of automotives, and then eventually kind of worked my way into just doing every single thing you can imagine in banking, from a teller line to making car loans to setting up a channel for customers to do digital transactions with us, to mortgages, home equity loans, you name it. And really designing everything around what the consumers want, right? Like the design was, hey, as a consumer, when you have a need, how do you design services and products by keeping the lens of the customer in your mind? So banking just was not something I envisioned I was going to do, but it was just a fit that I was really good at.
Kind of sounds like it matured into you and you matured into it.
Yeah, it sure did. And because it was very eye-opening when you start thinking about budgeting, when you think about like the challenges we all face. Coming in this country at a young age, I wanted to drive a nice car. But how much should I spend in a car loan?
Mm-hmm.
How much should I be paying for rent? Oh, wow, I don't have enough money to keep the lights on, right? So really kind of understanding as you're building your life journey, there is some financial education you need in terms of like what is disposable income that you want to keep away, how much is the slush fund for savings you need to have to ensure that you don't get pounded down by the weight of debt in our society.
Which is, not to be judgmental, it just feels like every day that goes by, we as a society are failing to teach our youth about that. It seems debt. And I mean, you can sit here and argue that debt's good, debt's bad, all those kind of things, but it just compared to like when I was growing up is the power of the financial acumen, if you will, compared to nowadays. Again, not to be judge or jury, it just feels different.
Yeah.
You know, I catch myself talking to my sons of, aren't you guys learning this? No, Dad, we're not.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the different environment that we're in.
Yeah, I think financial education is just one of those tough conversations. It's hard for a parent to tell their kids no, right? We always overextend. It's always keeping up with your neighbor. They bought a new car. How do I get a new car? They did this remodel. How do I?
So, long-term consequences.
Yeah. But I think for kids in particular, if they start off early and they start getting, with their preferred partner, wherever they bank, and they have tools. There's so much tools available at all banking institutions that they can help carve out your custom plan to where you can do better than the generations before you. So I highly encourage getting with a banker and sitting down and figuring out your goals.
Let's go down a couple paths and then we'll jump into some fun stuff that you're working on. First of all, I don't think some people need a reminder. What is a credit union versus a bank?
Yeah, that's a great segue in. Credit unions are now open to anyone in particular. There's so many choices you have. There's local credit unions, there are community-based credit union, national credit unions, and then there's global credit unions. Community credit unions were built to serve communities, and there was a gap between, really helping the community out in terms of getting them the financial assistance they needed. So a group of individuals got together and they created a solution to give back and help their community. So now it's evolved to where if you're part of a credit union, just because of the model that we have being nonprofit, we're able to take the income we made, net income at the end of the year, and invest it back into products and services at a much.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
Higher value than banking, like banks can. So being part of a credit union really helps organizations. I don't know. I missed this one a little bit.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah. So I highly encourage you to be part of a credit union because they're really thinking about designing products and services based on your own needs. So they're able to take the money in. We don't have shareholders. So our expense line is much shorter. So we're able to give you lower fees. We're able to give you better loan rates. And today, credit unions can offer anything a bank can.
Okay. Yeah. Secondly, then, and thanks for kind of just grounding that as we move forward, as we talk about you and OneAZ Credit Union, is a chief strategy and growth officer.
Yeah.
So when you signed up for this, what the hell did they tell you to do?
Yeah, that's fun.
Or did you make it up?
No, it's a fun title. Strategy is a set of choices you make in an organization. You're trying to create a path of differentiation. How do you set your organization apart with all the other competitors do you have in the market? And it really comes from defining what your core values are in the institution, what your vision is, and strategy is a bridge that helps you get there and delivers you. to those desired outcomes. It's a strategic alignment across the organization to where everybody is working on the right initiatives. And if you can implement strategy right, success will follow.
So when you're talking about this, Osman, are you talking about, I think I understand it, but make sure for the audience, you're not talking about the inner workings of you as OneAZ Credit Union. You're talking about your constituents, your partners, your clients as the credit union, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about strategy and you break it down, you have to first come up with the fact that what is your purpose as an organization? Once you know your purpose, why you exist, you are trying to solve for what are your fundamental beliefs? Why do you get up every morning? Why do you come to work? To serve who? And then you figure out the differentiations in the market in terms of who are you going to serve, what products and services you're going to bring to them, what is your community need in particular, and designing items around that. You have to be, a strategy really helps you hone in on specific areas, right? So you're not trying to be everything for everyone. You're trying to get really specific. Like at OneAZ, we start with our winning aspiration to be the financial trailblazer in Arizona, inspiring dreams, driving prosperity and community growth through innovative solutions. So if that's what we want to be at Trailblazer, how do we ensure that every activity that we're doing in terms of innovative solution is digitally impacted? What does our platform looks like? How do we create these services for our consumers in a really robust digital platform so everybody's kind of honed in, aligned on which direction we're going? The other item is that I want to kind of talk about is if you get strategy right, success follows, right? So you don't have to worry about driving profits. You got to focus on the consumer. What does the consumer want in particular? How do they want to consume that product and services when they are out in the open market? They're hit by so many businesses, right? Several banks, credit union, fintechs. So how is your value proposition going to stand out to where it's going to resonate with those consumers? So we believe in really designing from a human-centered design perspective and delivering, top quality value products to our members.
So tough question, Osman, is, okay, that sounds all well and good in theory and some MBA class and everything. How are you guys effectuating that in the market? Like, you don't have to mention client names for confidentiality, but even in your 10 months here, or even let's go back to Houston, in your disposition and in your role, how have you been able, like what testimonials or examples can you give where, like, let's say you went into a defunct or maybe just a little slightly dysfunctional company. Can you kind of give some stories about how what you represent as a credit union, how that differentiates? Is there anything that you can kind of spin off there?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that comes to mind is imagine today competing against digital fintech companies.
Okay.
Right. We had to kind of go in and see, like, hey, looking at our product line today, looking at our consumers in particular, we're like, hey, we are not attracting young professionals. We don't have the products and services that resonate with them. So it's really taking the design elements of what do those consumers want? How do we implement a digital-first platform that is self-serve, and if you need help, we also have an avenue for you, and then assembling all that in a really amazing bow of experiences for the consumers, and then driving results through that. So over and over throughout my career, it's been using data science, looking at consumer segments, looking at how do they want to consume the information, and then putting a team together to assemble those experiences from start to end and seeing results. We've seen that growth in multiple institutions I've been at. So that's just one example. Another one would be is you'd really believe in really serving the communities, right? So you have to really think about what does that mean? What community are you going to go after? How are you going to bring value to those communities? what's in it for them, right? Kind of going back to what we talked about earlier is it's about being a true partner to someone. The business will follow later, but you have to sit down, understand what they're looking for, being part of their communities, and really understanding how you're going to continue to make an impact.
What, on that note, what we were talking a little bit about it beforehand off air, what is OneAZ Credit Union? Like, what are you guys most proud of, or what are some of the strategic things you're doing in that community development role?
Yeah.
Just if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the pillars for our growth in particular is, really being a true community partner to our Arizona community. We're state chartered credit union, so we have the entire state. We've honed in on our strategy of young professionals, small businesses, Hispanic, Latino families. This is what the market in particular needs. Hispanics are growing in Arizona at a substantial rate at 3x speed. So by the time 2030 comes around, they're going to be one of the biggest population in Arizona. So how do we be a solution for all, right? But also be true partners to them. So we got an activation group called Novle, and we sat down with them and we said, we really want to be a solution, figure out what's happening in day-to-day lives of the Hispanic populations or Latinos, understanding what are the challenges in terms of small businesses, what are the challenges in terms of generations over generations, and the gap they have in terms of solving to have better life in this country. So this year we've done about 35 different events.
Oh, wow.
in that community, and we're part of soccer teams, or we're part of small business, Latina women in business, and on and on. So learning, taking feedback from the community, and then designing around them. So yeah, it's been a fun journey across so far.
You said something that made me want to ask the question of, and maybe this is for all banking, but specific to credit union and maybe even OneAZ. When you look at your book of business per se, is it mostly individual families or more small business, or do you guys have a strategic initiative of you want to balance that? I'm just curious, does the audience even understand where do you play currently, and what are you trying to transition, keep it stable, balance it, get more commercial? Yeah. I'm just asking all those guys. I kind of barfed on you, but you don't have to ask. Yeah. Just what's your market share?
Yeah. So today in particular, when you look at OneAZ, we've been a state charter credit union. So, we're being very intentional about diversifying our mix. We offer all sorts of consumer solutions to everybody. So the blend today is heavily consumer. We have commercial. We also have small businesses. And, the idea around what is a perfect blend for an organization is based on your strategy, where you're going to go. We believe in creating impact in our community. So whatever the market is how we're designing. We're a organization for everyone, right? You can come join. We kind of refer to as the psychographics of consumers, because you could be a Hispanic, you could be Asian, you could be white, but how do you want to do business? If you want to come through the digital channel, we want to have the best digital solution for you. If you want to have a feed and care and you want to come into our branches, we'll help you counsel through your needs. And if you're just starting off a business, we want to be that solution for you. So there's not a mix, an intentional mix. It's just whatever market we're serving, whatever the needs are, our products and services are designed around them.
How are you able to stay nimble to that, though?
So
I'll set the table a little bit easier for you. Your big boy, mega national, international banks.
Yeah.
It's like moving the Titanic, right? You can't do it.
Yeah.
So how are you able, as OneAZ or even a credit union in general, how are you able to adapt and move quicker than those mega banks?
Yeah, great question. So we don't try to do everything for everyone. We try to be very good at certain specific things, going back to the strategy of the organization. So finding solutions that are really going to resonate, how we're going to pivot. We create strategic plans, and we're like, hey, we're going to try to help these communities, and these are the product and services that are the needs. That's what the data shows, and then we invest in those technologies. We also work in a agile framework at the organization.
Yeah. So
it creates us nimbleness. It helps us pivot. We're looking at how do we deliver the highest value to our customers. So we're adaptable. We're not trying to have a waterfall mindset to where we got to do A, B, C, D, and by the time we get to the market, the market's already pivoted. So we take constant feedback. We test the markets, and if we're hearing the consumer needs are changing, we have to adapt and bring that to market fast.
One thing we always talk about on this podcast, Osman, is there isn't a vertical that gets on that has a guest or that sits across from you that doesn't have human capital concerns. How are you able to? How is your organization? How are you attracting, retaining, training young people? Because it seems like every industry has a human capital problem.
Yeah, it's a challenge. The consumers, the future markets for the employees of the future are changing. So I think the consumer. Let's try that again.
Okay, keep going. It doesn't matter.
So that's a valid question. The workforce is changing.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're doing is there's a big focus on the generation that's coming into our workforce are purpose-driven, right? They want to align themselves with organizations that really connect with them. So we are heavily focused in particular on how do we resonate and get like-minded people that are purpose-driven within our organization that really aspire and inspire to help the communities that we serve. So it's not all about you're coming to work to just get a paycheck. It's about hey, your impact for the time that you spend at OneAZ is making a difference in someone's life. So you got to get them engaged, and they got to have a complete buy-in on what you do.
Do you find this is kind of, being that you're kind of in the strategic and growth part of the business.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
Do you find that you and your competitors, are you all going to the same well? I mean, is it the same trade schools, colleges, ex-employers? Are you pilfering from large corporate organizations? I mean, the reason I'm asking this question is because it's not to give away any proprietary secrets. It's so that people in the audience, I think everyone's kind of reached their glass ceiling, right? It's like, oh, I can only go to Indeed or Monster so many times. I can only steal from my competition so many times. I can only go to this many colleges. I think everyone's just looking for a beacon of, are there any other resources?
Yeah.
So I'm just asking, Osman, and the answer could be no, or you might be able to share something and go, actually, we've had tremendous luck and success in this.
Yeah, no, I think what we're doing is we're pairing up with kind of the traditional stuff that you talked about. We're looking at recruiting internship programs. We recruit through colleges. We've seen a lot of people come in from different industries because we like we like the dynamics because they bring a different perspective, right? From technology companies, from banking industries. We have people coming into credit unions.
Much like your own past.
Yeah, absolutely.
You came into it kind of through the side door, right?
Yeah, hospitality and auto industry, and then I'll bring a different perspective. But that has really helped. And, to anybody that's looking for, a banking career, I think credit unions is a fantastic option because it really helps you understand financials. Being on the inside, you're looking at the product design, what the consumer challenges are, and it really opens your eyes on how awesome it is to be part of design elements. There's credit unions are turning into financial technology companies,
right?
So there's a lot of innovations happening in our industry. So it's attracting skill set from all over.
Well, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say credit unions have, yes, they're for profit, but yet they're not for profit, right? And so I think that, if you want to call it a juxtaposition or whatever, but versus, if I'm at JP Morgan Chase or something, it's about shareholder returns and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Not saying that's bad. Capitalism is capitalism. But in this case, if that really is, like you said, a befitting match or appealing to someone, knowing that, hey, those quote unquote dividends are coming back in different forms and things like community involvement, this initiative, that strategic thing. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, it is. One of the things we believe in is we want to create a very powerful brand that resonates with both if you're want to come work for OneAZ or if you're a consumer of OneAZ, that you believe the purpose that we serve, the impact we're making in our communities, the value you get from our product and services, and anytime I go to work, I want to be we want each employee to feel proud to wear that OneAZ logo on their shirt, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to hone in on.
Another thing, so this is kind of challenging you in your role. Let's be honest. Something about strategic and growth officer. You're in charge of business development too. You're trying to recruit and retain new customers. With that, one of the things we always hear about is, okay, it's one thing to go out, get, and then keep a customer for a little while. What are you doing, either you or in your organization? How do you turn that into a very long-term relationship? What is the key so that those people don't jump ship and go to either another credit union, back to conventional banking? What are you guys finding as your biggest struggle, and then how are you overcoming those hurdles?
Yeah, so one of the things that it's the product design, right?
Okay.
So we do focus group studies. We look at, several data points of McKinsey's and on. And what we do is we try to learn our market segment and start designing services. For example, for small businesses, what are some of the needs that they may need? Is there cash management? Is it going to be tax services? Is it going to be insurances? So how do we tie all that? So when you buy a product from us, it tells you, makes recommendation into, hey, you may also need XYZ. Who does that? Amazon does a really good job with that, right?
Yeah.
You put something in your cart, the next thing you know is 3 more other things that you may need. So we're trying to do it to where we're your partner, thinking about proactively what your desired needs may be. So we kind of really help you be very successful of what you're passionate about, because your dreams are our dreams, right? So that's something that we're focusing on.
So if that's the thing, I know a lot of people would ask, okay, Osman, are those in-house services or are those partnerships? Yeah. So go back to, let's use insurance or surety.
Yeah.
Do you have that in-house for your potential customers, or do you have strategic alliances with other outsourcers?
It's a combination of both.
Which I would expect.
Yeah. It takes time to build out everything internal.
Really?
Sometimes the cost structure doesn't work out, but we want to be able to get high quality product and services that we feel confident that the businesses are going to be able to be successful with. So we do the due diligence if there are a third-party partner. Otherwise, we try to do as much as we can internal.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If I was to be a fly on the wall in one of your meetings with your executive team at the credit union, what do you guys and gals talk about as far as both risk and opportunities in the future? So you have a current state, right? But then you guys know how to manage that. You wouldn't be sitting in the chairs that you're in if you didn't know how to do that. I'm curious what you can share that's not proprietary or secret or whatever of, hey, we as OneAZ Credit Union, these are the things we see coming in. These are the things that we think that we can be make a difference in our community. Can you share any of those kind of things?
Yeah, I can try.
Without giving away all the secrets.
Yeah. I think this is no secret, but when we're sitting in the executive room, we're really looking at our industry in particular. Banking has evolved. Today, podcasts like these, TikToks and YouTube channels, you're seeing people consuming information from all sorts of channels, right?
Sure.
And how much of that information is correct? How much of that is validated?
All of mine's crap, by the way.
Yeah. So we're thinking about when you look down further down the line, the future consumer, like the kids that are sitting at home with iPads today, right? A very different journey than yours and mine. So how are they going to want to do business? Who are they going to be taking advices from? So really looking at future-proofing the organization by really using data-backed decision, keeping an eye on the future in terms of vision, that in order to resonate, in order to communicate with them, the communication style, the product and services, the way digital is going to play a big part of the design element. So where does AI fall in all of that, right? So
you have a heavy investment in there.
So we're looking at all aspects of it, and if we're not, we're going to have an issue. I think AI is going to bring a lot of efficiency gains for organization, faster turnaround time. It's going to enhance a lot of consumer experiences, but I think the human touch is also going to be there.
So then we're back to, let's call it the irony, if you will, because I can't think of a better word right now. So in your industry, as things are going more digital, AI, interconnectivity, things, do you still see that you have to grow the credit union philosophy and the ecosystem on physical assets? Like, do you still need brick and mortar credit unions in all your communities? And if so, why?
Yeah, I think the old school brick and mortar is changing.
Okay. Help define them.
Yeah. So, the old buildings that you went in and there were clock towers and there was a massive teller line, and that is all changing. One of the things we're doing at the organization is we're calling it more of a community hub. So there's partners that come in and they get together and they help integrate and in the society, and you're able to get financial advices. We can help set up small businesses. What is it going to take for me to be successful in terms of opening my clothing store tomorrow?
Got it.
So getting all resources in a community hub style space where people can come in for solutions. So it's no longer going to be in the future when you look at how am I going to do a teller transaction, because payment methods are changing, right? So your kids are not holding cash anymore. They're using digital technologies, digital pays, Venmos, and on and on. So the future of banking is changing. So that kind of makes the design of the future concepts of branches changing, and we call them community hubs in the future.
And they seem, as a construction guy, I can tell you that they're cheaper to build that way too, which is, easier for you, easier for your customers and constituents. Good. As we've been talking, Osman, is there anything that's been coming across your mind that you want to, like questions that I haven't asked, but you want to kind of explain either about your past, about credit unions in general, about OneAZ, just things, kind of an open mic on your behalf right now of anything you want to kind of public service message, anything.
Yeah.
Or even some of your passions about what you want to do in your role at OneAZ in the next few years.
Yeah, it's going to be a really amazing journey for OneAZ in particular. We have an awesome team of executives, senior leaders, management, and
you have new blood in.
Yeah, we're very diverse with our skill set, with our, and we're all strategically aligned. So we are at work, and one of the things we're focusing on is Arizona in particular, our market, our consumers. How do we make sure we really solve for the needs and create a financial impact in our communities and help create generational wealth, and help solve for how you in particular as a consumer can do better than generations before, and a lot of innovation. We're thinking about things from a design perspective very different than traditional banking. It's a whole idea around value to our consumers. Like, how do we make sure that we give you a very high quality product and service, and be right by your side and walk you through your success, your journey.
Well, it was funny because you were saying that generational wealth of doing better than the generation before. It's like, I'm not saying your dad did worse, because it sounded like he was very successful.
Yeah.
But seeing how you did, you built on your upbringing, and then you can pay that forward to maybe your generation or the community around you.
Yeah,
there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
Hey, switching gears, what the hell do you do for fun? Come on, you can't just be a workaholic.
No, I love to travel. I love cars.
What kind?
I mean, I have a Corvette. I've had Teslas. I have trucks. You name it. I just love cars. I love
the technology. We're like a muscle head.
Well, I'm a combination. I'm a combination. I like it all. The other thing is we love travel, like you saw, like from my the
way you were brought up.
The way I was brought up. It's just been, just going, trying new foods, understanding new culture, learning something. It could be a hole in the wall type of restaurant. I just love it. I'm not all about 5-star restaurants or chains. I love local foods.
Hey, you got a dog too, huh?
Yeah, we have 2 dogs. We have a German Shepherd, and then we have a little Western Highland Terrier. She's a little Westie. We're dog
Who's
people.
The alpha dog?
The Westie.
Of course.
The 20-pound.
I knew. Why does the small dog always rule the house, right?
Yeah. He's a gentle giant, and she gets her way.
Well, with that, unless if there's anything else you want to add, I'd feel free. But I just thank you for coming on today and sharing not only your story, the credit union story, and specifically OneAZ Credit Union. Oh, I know what I want to ask you. There was one other thing, is, and maybe we digress here a little bit. Back to and I need the education. I should know this by now at this point in my life. In a state where you have a credit union, like in your name, that you have to stay in the state, right, as a credit union. Like you can't go to Utah and be AZ1 Credit Union in Utah, correct?
No, you can. Okay. You can expand charters. You can expand. Yes, yeah. You can do acquisitions. You can do mergers, and you can get a new future market. And then there's other ways to expand membership. There is a credit union. There's several national credit unions. So I think for OneAZ today, I think we were really concentrating on dominating the Arizona market, and then we'll explore the future.
Now, and that was part 2 is, are you kind of in all corners of the state right now, or do you guys have, again, back to the boardroom, or have you guys felt that you've been underserved in some of the outlying communities and that's where you're going next?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a combination strategy. It's where the growth is happening, and we do extensive market studies and around like where's the consumers at, are they aligned with the strategy that we have internally, and then if it requires us to have branch presence or get a new market, we will be there.
Thank you for coming back to that.
Yeah.
So with that, Osman, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Like I said, I'm going to do one more shout out to my friends at the State 48 Foundation.
Yeah.
Because I know OneAZ Credit Union is
great partners. Yeah.
Heavily involved, and Mike Spangenberg and all my peeps over there support that. By the time this airs, I think they will have maybe be done or in the middle or just ending with the entrepreneur series that they do.
Yeah.
But it's a phenomenal thing for you young entrepreneurs out there in Arizona to attend and gain vast knowledge of how to just have a backbone in many facets of being an entrepreneur if you think you're in that gamut. So, thanks again for coming on, Osman.
Thank you so much for having me here. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Mac and Blue Show, brought to you by Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the Mac and Blue podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow JJ Levensky on LinkedIn and Instagram. Tune in every Monday